गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. ओम ओम. Okay. In waking, first we saw the dream. In dream, Atrayam Purusha Swayam Jyoti. It means the entire waking state, which includes the world as well as the subject, which is knowing the world. Okay, including both, there is consciousness which is illumining, which is aware of the entire state. Here, what we need to do is separate it, distinguish it, discriminate it between that subject and the witnessing consciousness. It is the witnessing consciousness that is taken as a subject. But the subject itself is not the witnessing consciousness, because subject is only a thought related to object. Subject is a thought, is a notion, depending upon, it is no doubt consciousness, but consciousness in a limited way. Let us say this way. It is Sakshi only. It is witnessing consciousness alone. It is the witnessing consciousness in a limited way is called the knower, the individual knower. Because the witnessing consciousness, when it gets related to a given object, it becomes a subject. The subject is a relative status of the witnessing consciousness. See the difference. Witnessing consciousness pervades the entire state, but the subject of the state, dream subject, is relative to the object. The same witnessing consciousness, when it is seen as a relative, it is individual. When it is seen as independent, it is Sakshi. That's all. They are not two. Sakshi and Jnata, Sakshi and the subject are not two things. Okay. It is the same Sakshi. In a relative condition, you call it a subject of the state, either dream state or waking state. The same witnessing consciousness is common to both waking state and dream state. Itself is free from state. Witnessing consciousness itself is a witness. Witness means it is not a relative consciousness. All that we mean is only this much. One is the relative consciousness, another is independent consciousness. Let us say this way. The relative consciousness is individual knower related to object, therefore he is a part of the state. He is related to object, he is part of the state. Okay. So the consciousness which is related means it is knowing a given object within the state. It is knowing the object by object, thing by thing within the state. Then the same consciousness appears as if it is an individual, because it is related. It is related to objects, related to the things within the state. Therefore, the consciousness which is related to object is called the subject. But the consciousness is not even subject, because it is not relative. It is non-relative but independent. So the same consciousness seen as a relative is an individual. It is a non-relative but independent is called witness. See the difference. It's only this much. Or they take the same space. Space doesn't have a location. You take an example. Space doesn't have a location. It is all pervasive. But when you take it a point of space, how do you say a point of space? Point of space is when you locate it, this is this, one desha vishesha. We call it a point of space, an area of a space. Then you distinguish it. It is this and not the remaining. It is only this point and not the remaining point. When you take a given point, you are distinguishing it from the rest of the point. You are separating it from the rest of the area. It is not present everywhere. It is only here, not elsewhere. So when you put a location, when you put a point, then the division comes, point and the remaining. But when you don't have a point, then what is the space? The entire space is one. Entire space is one. It is indivisible one space. Similarly, Sakshi is the pure consciousness. Sakshi is not a relative state, note it. Sakshi is not a relative one. It is the individual knower, it is the jnata, the individual knower, that is relative. Individual knower is always knowing a given thing. It is related to an object. When you know something, you have a thought. The relation is thought. Thinker is thought, and relation is also thought. Object is a thought. An object is a thought, thinker is a thought, and relation is also thought. All three are thought only. So therefore, you are an individual related to an object. Then, because it is not three, they all put together is one thought alone. Then thinker, thought, and the object, they are not three, though we use the three words. Thinker, object, and thought. Thought is relationship. Relationship is also thought. Thinker is also thought. Object is also thought. All the three are equally thoughts only. So, for sake of for worldly understanding, we call them three because we use the three words. It is only reference point changes. It is one thought. It is one thought. With reference, we keep on changing. Either object or subject or relationship, all that. So, it is a divisive thought. This much we can say it is a relative thought. It is a divisive thought. It is a relative thought and a divisive thought. In waking state or dream state, when your attention is on the objects, then you become a knower of a given thing. You become a knower of a given thing because you are knowing a given thing. See, simple it is logic. You are knowing a given thing because you are paying attention to one by one. Our perception is always one by one because we use mind and sense organs. Because mind, the nature of the mind and sense organs, see, how does the mind know? Does the mind know entire waking state at one stroke? No. Mind is divisive. Mind is selective. Mind knows. Now see, when you come to the room, you don't see the room in one stroke, the entire room. When you see the entire room in one stroke, you cannot have a thought at all. You can't have no thought. When you pay attention to one, oh, this is paper, yes, one thought. Then table, another thought. Like when your mind becomes selective, then you have a given thought. Then another thought, another object, another object, another object. Mind is selective. When it is selects, it becomes a limited. Then there becomes a series of limited thoughts. The limitation is thought. It is a series of thought because you are selective. You're selecting this, then next this, then next, then next. This is how the mind functions. The very nature of mind is it keeps on watching one by one. Selectively it watches. Sense organs also select. Sense organs are also divisive. Eyes also, eyes are individual. Eyes as eyes, they see one by one. Do they perceive the entire world in one stroke? They see one by one. Then eyes also divide. Then sense organs also divide. When you are seeing with eyes, you see the color. When you are aware of the world through eyes, through ears, when you are the awareness behind the eyes and behind the ears, behind the touch, behind the smell, behind the taste. 5 sense organs. It is consciousness, wakeful consciousness is one. The same wakeful consciousness When it is knowing the color, you call it eyes. It is a consciousness. Consciousness is knowing the color, that particular condition. When the consciousness is aware of the color, that condition is called eyes. When the consciousness is knowing the sound, you call it ear. What is ear? Ear is only consciousness knowing the sound. Consciousness feeling the heat and cold touch, then you call it skin. The organ of touch, the organ of feeling. Then the organ of smell, organ of taste. What are they? It is a consciousness in a selected way, in a limited way. Consciousness functioning in a limited way. That means it is illumining a limited object. It is selecting a given thing, then you call it a sense organ. It is the same consciousness when it is selective, when it is limited. So you are only watching a given thing, then it is called a sense organ. Then it is called a sensation. Eye, colors, sounds, touch, etc. These are the experiences. But you watch sound when you are aware of. What is the difference between eye and ear? Eyes see the color, ear feel the sound. So here, in the eyes, what is there is only simple consciousness. It is the same consciousness which is seeing the color. The same consciousness is aware of the sound. At the level of consciousness, there is no sense organ. Because it is the same consciousness is aware of the sound, aware of the color. The object which you are aware of may differ. The object you are aware of differs, but the consciousness is one. Consciousness is one. When you are conscious of sound, conscious of color. Conscious of sound, conscious of color. Consciousness is one. Things may differ, but consciousness is one. That means there are no two sense organs. It is one consciousness with reference to the object you are calling as a separate sense organ. Eye is one sense organ, ear is another sense organ. Eye is one sense organ, ear is another sense organ. Why do you call them two? Because it is related to external object. One is aware of the color, another is aware of the sound, or aware of smell and touch, and then remaining also you can apply. But the consciousness is one. When you are aware of heat and cold is an object, but awareness is same. The awareness which is aware of heat and cold, the same awareness, the same wakeful consciousness is aware of sound. The same wakeful consciousness is aware of the color. So from the standpoint of awareness, there is no distinction between whether it is ear or eye or touch. All are same. It is only the thing which you are aware of. The object which you are aware of differs, but the consciousness is one. The same consciousness, when it is aware of the color, you call it eyes. You call it a perception, sense perception. You call it eyes, which is visual perception, let us say. Eyes means you call it a visual perception. So the visual perception is nothing but consciousness, aware of color. The same consciousness when aware of the sound. Only the object is changing, but the consciousness is same. Whether it is visual or whether it is auditory, I mean sound. Whether sound or color, it is a consciousness same. Or whether you are feeling heat and cold, it is the same consciousness. Objects are changing, things are changing. What you are aware of is changing, but consciousness is not changing. When you are aware of the smell, it is the same consciousness. It is this consciousness which knew, which was aware of the color. The same consciousness is aware of the smell. The same consciousness is aware of the touch. The same consciousness is aware of taste. That means the consciousness is one, indivisible. It is divisionless. It appears to be divided from the standpoint of the external thing. When you look at the consciousness through the color, not as consciousness through the color, Through the color means through the other object. From that side you say consciousness, only that much consciousness which is aware of the color, only that part of consciousness which is aware of the sound. You are dividing the consciousness from the external side, isn't it? But the consciousness is same. There are no 5 consciousnesses. One consciousness is aware of color, another consciousness is aware of sound, another consciousness is aware of sense of touch. Do we have 5 consciousnesses? They are not many. It is the consciousness aware of the object. When it is aware of the object, when it is illumining the object, we are dividing through the external thing, making the consciousness selective, limited. This limitation is imposed on adhyasa. This limitation on the consciousness is adhyasa. Therefore, calling the consciousness as vision, calling the consciousness as hearing, calling the consciousness as a vision is an adhyasa. Consciousness is a reality. Vision is imposed name. Vision is only imposition. So, what you call addition. Addition means hearing. So the hearing is only an imposition, but it is originally consciousness. See the difference. So heat and cold, you feel them. You feel the heat and cold. So the feeling is imposition. Consciousness is its real nature. Okay. Consciousness is itself, but the feeling means you are related to heat and cold from that side. So with reference to heat and cold, you are judging. You are looking at the consciousness through the heat and cold. So consciousness looks selective, divided. It looks selective and divided. One consciousness pertains to touch, another consciousness pertains to vision, another consciousness pertains to audition, another consciousness to taste, it looks that there are 5. Are they 5? If there were 5 different, you would not be the same person. If once you open, if you see with your eyes and close your eyes and hearing it, the hearer would be different and seer would be different. Do you see the hearer different and seer different? It is the same consciousness. It is the same consciousness which was aware of the sound, is aware of the color. Take another further example, eyes you see. The eyes are seeing the one form, one color, like you see the paper, then you see the table, then you see the chair. So when the objects are changing, does the vision change? Nota change ಆಗ್ತದೆ. In Kannada, nota. Does the vision change? Vision is one. When you see the paper, vision is same. When you see the table, the object of vision is changing, but the vision of the eyes, the consciousness in the eyes is one. It's not changing. The same consciousness is aware of the paper, aware of table. So the vision is continuously one. Objects are changing. We think that there are many visions. There is no many visions. There is only one vision. Object of vision is changing. Similarly, vision and audition. Audition means hearing of the eyes, hearing with the ears. Hearing means aware of the sound, that's all. You are aware of the sound, aware of the color, aware of the heat and cold. Awareness is one. Therefore, 5 sense organs are nothing but selective consciousness. Consciousness is selected and divided. Okay, selected means limited. Limited consciousness and divided consciousness. Is this selectiveness and limitation and division, does it belong to the very nature of consciousness, or it is imposed from outside? This selectiveness, that is limitation of consciousness, and division of consciousness into 5. Is this division and limitation, does it belong to the very nature of consciousness, or it is imposed from outside, wrongly imposed? This is what we call adhyasa. We call adhyasa. Adhyasa means wrongly what belongs to one seen as if belong to this. That's all. It belongs to only external things, but we feel as if it is related to consciousness. So the consciousness itself is divided. Consciousness itself is limited, selective and divided. But it is not. Consciousness is one. It is one, continuous, indivisible, and it is the same consciousness, changeless one. The same consciousness taken into 5 sense organs. But 5 division is a false division. When we call mithya, this is mithya. Mithya means it doesn't belong to itself. It is from other standpoint. It is a wrong division, false division. When you remove the divisions, see the one consciousness behind all the 5 sense organs. That what is that one consciousness? That is the waking state, or that is the mind, let us say. That is mind consciousness, isn't it? The mind consciousness is one. And within the mind also emotions and thoughts again. Emotions keep on changing. Every emotion, whether love or hatred or anger or jealousy, so when you have fear, when you have various emotions, consciousness is one behind all the emotions. Consciousness is one. When you are in a state of love, you are conscious of. When you are in a state of anger, you are conscious of. When in all the emotional states, consciousness is one. That means mind means consciousness. So consciousness is one. So the fluctuations are changing, but the underlying mind is one. Mind means consciousness is one. Similarly, mind and the thought. You have various thoughts. Thoughts may be many because thoughts pertain to various objects, various ideas. One idea is different from other. One idea is different from other. But each thought means consciousness again. Each thought means a consciousness in a given shape you call thought. Consciousness in a given shape, in a given relation. Shape means in a relation. Consciousness about something. Consciousness in a relationship, in a given shape, you call a thought. But what is underlying? The content of all thoughts. The content, the underlying principle, the samanya we call it, the general one. The samanya, the content of all thoughts is one consciousness. So the content of thought, content of emotion is one consciousness. Now the content of mind and content of sense organs is one consciousness. That one consciousness is wakeful consciousness, isn't it? It is the same wakeful consciousness. You entertain a thought, you call it intellect. See, the same wakeful consciousness. You entertain a thought, then call it intellect. You are giving it another name with a reference to a limitation, but the consciousness is same. Same consciousness when you start feeling certain emotions, then you call it mind, but it is the same consciousness. Same consciousness when you are aware of sounds and colors and all, you call it sense organ. For each perception you give another name, but it is a consciousness. What you call perception is common perception of all 5 sense organs is consciousness. That way, what is in the sense organs, what is taken as mind, let us put it this way. The content of sense organs, the content of mind, the content of intellect is consciousness. Which consciousness? Wakefulness. It is direct our experience. Wakefulness is our consciousness. Echarada pragne, we call in Kannada. So Echarada pragne, so is wakefulness. Wakefulness is a common consciousness. We are dividing it, see. Now we have to see the underlying oneness, remove the divisions which are false. If the divisions were real, you could not remove them. You could not see one consciousness. You have to see multiple consciousnesses. That's how we are appearing, as if we are seeing multiple consciousnesses. There are no multiple. It is only one consciousness looked in from different angle and different way. So the one is the wakeful consciousness. Now you say the wakeful consciousness is vast. It is released from the sense organs because it is not confined to any given sense organ. It is released from all the 5 sense organs, released from the mind, that is emotions, released from the intellect. It is common to all sense organs, mind and intellect. Sense organs, emotions and intellect. The one consciousness is vast enough, that is called wakeful consciousness. When it is released from them, released in your understanding, it is not really stuck. There is no physical getting stuck. It is only released in your understanding. When you separate it, distinguish it, this is called Viveka, Vedanta Vichara. When we call inquiry, when we call Viveka, this is what we are doing it. In our understanding, seeing the removing the limitation, understanding how it is vast enough. The consciousness is vast, all over spreading, all pervasive. It is the entire wakeful consciousness. So we are not doing anything to the consciousness. It is the same. We were unnecessarily wrongly dividing it. The division is removed and understood as one whole wakeful consciousness. Okay? When you see the one wakeful consciousness, you are not seeing a given object. Then the time and place also goes. What is the time and space? Time is also relationship. When you see one object, when you see next object, okay? One thought and next thought. The previous and later, the idea of previous and later is called time. Scientists give different explanations. We give a common man's explanation, which is good enough for Vedantins, useful for Vedantins. The thought of previous and later, or a thought of sequence. An idea of sequence is called time. Otherwise, what is time? An idea of sequence, previous and later. Purvapari bhavaha kalaha. This is what our Tarka Shastra says in Sanskrit. Purvapari bhavaha. Pravaha rupaha kalaha. That's all. Krama samvit, krama buddhihi kalaha. In Sanskrit, when we say krama buddhi, an idea of sequence, a relationship of sequence is kala, is time. So, kala itself is not a vastu, is not an entity. It is only a relation. So, how subject is related? Subject is related to one and the next. How do you divide the previous and later? Previous is also you are aware of. Later is also aware of. Both are aware of. In the awareness, where is the previous and later? In the awareness itself, there is no previous and later. Hinde munde illa. It is one consciousness. Hinde ennuvadu consciousness. Previous is consciousness, later is also consciousness. In the consciousness itself, there is no that relationship of previous and later. That means conscious is free from time. Conscious is free from space also. Space means this extension, the idea of extension. The idea of spreading is called space. One point and the other. Here and there. Here and there, the idea of here and there. Spreading, extension is called. The idea of extension, smaller area, bigger area. These are all extensions, areas. The idea of area is space. That area is only again within the consciousness. Consciousness doesn't have a bigger consciousness, smaller consciousness. Do you have a dimension for consciousness? There is no bigger, small. Bigger is a thought within the consciousness. Small is a thought within the consciousness. See, small is a thought within the consciousness. Bigger is a thought within the consciousness. Consciousness itself doesn't become big and small. Like a spring, you are not stretching consciousness. Isn't it? When you think of 1 kilometer, okay, you think of 1 kilometer, then think of 20 kilometers. Do you mean your mind is stretched now? Your mind becomes 20 kilometer mind? Mind doesn't become 20 kilometer mind and 10 kilometer mind. In mind, what is there? They both are thoughts. When you think of 1 kilometer, when you think of 20 kilometers, mind is mind. Thought is thought. The idea in the thought, the idea implied in the thought is bigger and smaller. But thought is same. Do you have a bigger thought and smaller thought? The idea is big and small. Thought is thought. Similarly, consciousness is consciousness. When you are conscious of 20 kilometers, when you are conscious of 100 kilometers, the extension of from here to Delhi or here to Himalayas or here to even moon and sun and everywhere. All this distance, the distance is a thought. Smaller distance is a consciousness. Bigger distance is consciousness. Consciousness itself has no dimension, no area, no distance. Distance is imagined in the consciousness. Consciousness itself is free from distance, free from area. Consciousness is free from sequence. Consciousness is free from distance. Then what? Then consciousness is free from relationship. When you are still in relativeness, you are a subject-object. I am a subject knowing the object. When the relation also is gone, because even the relation is within the consciousness. Then consciousness stands. Consciousness stands as a witness. It loses individuality. It is no more a subject. Subject depends on object. Subject is relative to object. It is a divisive thought. Subject-object is a divisive thought. Subject is relative to somebody. If suppose there is no object, can you have a only subject? Think of no object. You cease to be a subject. That's what you mean Sakshi. When you have no object and remain a relative consciousness is subject. That is Jiva. Jnatru. That's what is a knower or Jnata we call. Jnatru. When the consciousness is non-relative, he is just consciousness. That's what we call Sakshi. Okay. Therefore, when you are part of the state, when you are still in a relative state, when you are still in a relative consciousness, you are within the state. How you come out of the state? First, you release the consciousness from the objects. Sense organs you remove. You merge all sense organs into one consciousness. Then the mind and intellect merge into one internal organ. Internal organ is mind. Mind is an internal. Sense organs are external. Okay, first mind and intellect merge, see as one consciousness. Then 5 sense organs are one consciousness. Then the sense organs and internal, we call external and internal. External, internal is with reference to sense organs only. If you remove the sense organs, mind is one. There is no internal, external division. See, when you operate through sense organs, body comes into picture. When you see the consciousness behind all 5 sense organs, you leave the body and come to mind alone. See, body comes where you start using sense organs. It is there in Adhyasa Bhasha. Anyway, I don't want to quote the thing. It is there in Adhyasa Bhasha. So, when you use the sense organs, body comes into picture. Because sense organs require a location. Body gives you location. Body gives you location on the jaga, on the sthana buddhi. Sthala buddhi comes through body. A location comes through the body. Sense organs function through body. Body means a location. 5 sense organs are located in one place. When you see one consciousness behind all 5 sense organs, then the body consciousness goes away. Then you come to the mind only. Then mind and sense organs division goes away. It is one consciousness. When you divide the consciousness into internal and external, internal is mind, antakarana, bhashyakarana. Internal conscious and external. Internal is mind and external means using the sense organ, that's all. When you use the sense organs, the very idea of using sense organ means body consciousness has come. Location, an idea of location has come, that is body. In your consciousness, you see, when you feel located, that is body. So, all 5 sense organs are merged into one consciousness, then your body location goes and you come into mind. In the mind, there is only subject-object division. There is no idea of location. Idea of location is not, only there is a relationship. Idea of location comes through body. I don't know, do I make sense? I'm going on and on. Anyway, later you can do manana. These are the things need to be done, contemplated deeply again and again. So, the location is removed. Location means you are located within space. Body gives you location in space. Through body, body means location in the space. When you leave the body, the location disappears. Location is not there. That means you are not a part of the external world. The external world goes away. That means the waking state goes away. You come into dream. The waking world comes only through body. Body has a location. That means body lives within the space. When you have a bodily consciousness, then you have a location. Location means you are at one point and world is around you. Things are around you. This is through the body consciousness. Then you are in the waking state. When you withdraw from your 5 sense organs, that means you see all 5 sense organs are one consciousness. Your location idea goes away. Body dissolves. Then the space goes away. then the waking state goes away, you come into dream state. That means you come into mental level. Okay, the waking state goes away, the physical world dissolves, then you have only mind. Mind means only relations. There is no location. There is no physical location because there is no physical body and sense organs. Only mind. Mind means only relations. Even the relativeness, the subject and object both are same consciousness. Consciousness is common in all relations. Okay. Subject is also consciousness, object is also consciousness, the knower is consciousness, known is consciousness. In that one consciousness, subject-object division goes away, mind also gets dissolved. Okay, that is witnessing consciousness. And that is Sushupti, that is deep sleep. Generally people think deep sleep means blank, darkness, blankness. Okay, one is you think that a deep sleep is a blank, or you think it is darkness, or you think it is a past. Okay, past. It is an experience of past. Agi hogiruva gatanubhava, bhutakalina anubhava. These three are wrong, because these three are looked from waking standpoint. Deep sleep, when looked from waking standpoint, it looks as a blank. Okay, khali khali ansat. It looks as a darkness. Kappu kappu ansat. It looks as a dark, or it looks as a past. These three are, it is the waking mind interpreting like that. You remain a waker, and when you look to the Sushupti, deep sleep, it is the waking mind is interpreting, interfering and interpreting. It is not allowing you to see the deep sleep directly. If you look at the deep sleep directly, it is yourself. How can you make yourself a past? In deep sleep, you alone remain, consciousness alone remains, it is not past. So how to look at the deep sleep? First you see the wakeful consciousness. In the wakeful consciousness, you remove the sense organs, you remove the body, you remove the mind. Consciousness alone remains. Witnessing consciousness alone remains. That witnessing consciousness alone, endless, limitless, non-related, non-relative. It is non-relational, purely existing consciousness is called Sushupti. So you are not going elsewhere. Sushupti is not in another state, going somewhere. So here itself you remove the waking state, waking individuality. You remove the mind and dream individuality and remain. That is pure consciousness. So the consciousness without the world. Yesterday I told you in the TV screen, in the TV station the power goes off, you see simple screen with a bright light. Bright light, that's all. You don't see any colors, pictures, forms or anything. You don't see distance also. See, in the normal picture you see the distance. One object is here, another object is inside. You see the inside outside. In the mirror, you see the inside outside. Don't you see a distance within it? You touch it, there is no distance. Isn't it? In any picture, even this picture also, you see, I say I am here. The mic is in front, I am behind and the wall is behind. I see there is a distance here. See, mic is here. The me person is sitting behind. Still, wall is still behind. It looks that there is a distance. You touch it, is there a distance? Do you feel? All distance is one. Similarly, it is a relationship. The relational, you feel there is a distance. Subject, object looks there are two and there is a distance between them. It is like a mirror. In a mirror, it looks there is a depth in the mirror. In the mirror, reflective objects, one object is here, or you can say one object is here, or you put in another object behind. In the mirror reflection, you see that there is one here, one other inside. Is there inside, outside? You touch, there is all one. No inside, outside. Because the depth is only a false, is an imagination, is an illusion, as if you feel there is a depth. There is no depth. Depth andre olage horage illa. Similarly here, subject, object, it looks there is a depth. All subject, object is one consciousness. Therefore, in the one consciousness, the whole waking state is dissolved, dream state is, because mind is dissolved, then you alone remain. That is called deep sleep. Deep sleep, as you are in it, as you are, is deep sleep. But the same deep sleep, when the mind comes in the waking state, when the mind is trying to understand, mind cannot catch, because mind dissolves in the deep sleep. Okay, mind doesn't exist. Mind doesn't exist in deep sleep, therefore the mind is unable to understand what it is and how it is. When it doesn't understand, he will say something. You ask the small baby, who is the person? Uncle came. Who is the other person? Bigger uncle. Another person, bigger uncle. Who is that? Another third uncle, that's all. He knows everybody in terms of uncles only. There are no, everything is only put into one language, because he doesn't know how to classify them, how to explain them. So similarly, mind knows only one way, only relationship, time, space, object through sense organs. This is the only mind can know. What mind cannot know, it puts it as a blank. Okay? The waking mind is interpreting the deep sleep, where itself doesn't exist. Mind dissolves in deep sleep, and when I myself am not there, how do you explain? Before you were born, how were your parents? Imagine and tell me. Your parents and grandparents, how was this world before you were born? Anything you imagine is going to be wrong, because you have never seen. It is only false imagination. It is only false imagination. Because the mind is interpreting, because mind is like our Google. Shall I tell you? Because the Google is made by mind only. So if you want to understand mind understand the Google. You put a question, the Google never say, I don't know. It will give some other answer. You ask one person, it will give somebody else. It never says, I don't know. It gives some other answer. Similarly, mind always gives positive answer. It never gives a negative answer. Because how can mind admit that I am ignorant? How can mind admit that I myself don't exist? In my deep sleep, mind doesn't exist. Where you don't exist, what was there, you tell me? You ask any person. When you did not exist, what was it like that? Tell me. He says, how can I tell? When I did not exist, how can I tell how it was? How it was when I didn't exist? How can you tell? Therefore, that fellow will tell something. Something he will tell what he knows. Out of what he already knows, he will tell. Avaru ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರುವಾಗ ಅದು ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. So, when he didn't know, when he did not exist, you ask him what it was, and he tells out of what he knows already, this was like this, he tells. Because you are asking the mind to tell what you know, and he never says, I myself did not exist, I don't know. I don't know means I am excusing myself, means I am disappearing. Mind refuses to disappear, it wants to stand. That is the problem. We have to understand you are incapable of understanding, better shut up your mouth. To whom we have to tell the mind. When you don't exist in deep sleep, how can you tell? Mind remains silent. That's what we want. We want the silence of the mind. We want the mind to shut down, shut up. Then that's what the witnessing consciousness is. So mind should not interfere in explaining the deep sleep, in interpreting the deep sleep. It should not tell what is in deep sleep, because you yourself didn't exist. You should excuse, that's all, disappear. That's what is Vedanta. Our purpose of teaching is asking you to watch deep sleep, deep sleep. They say, why are you talking of sleeping? We are not asking you to go to sleep. We are asking you to wake up on the... We are asking you to watch the deep sleep without the mind, because understand how mind is incapable. Mind cannot enter into deep sleep. Waking mind cannot go, cannot enter. Waking mind is limited to waking alone. Understand this. Why? As you are trying to understand, you yourself transcend the waking mind. That means you stand as a sakshi, dropping off the waking mind. Otherwise, at the moment we are stuck with the consciousness is stuck with the waking mind. This is samsara. The worldly problem, the samsara, the mundane, I don't know how to translate samsara. Samsara is our Sanskrit word. How to translate? Samsara, they say mundane existence and all that. I don't know whether English communicates that. I don't know. Our Swamiji uses mundane existence. Some people say, whatever it is. So samsara or ajnana state, Jiva state is consciousness is always associated with the mind. You function through the mind. Take up the mind. Take up the mind as an instrument, use it, identify with it and live with it. Live within that mind alone, mind alone, mind alone. Now what we have to learn is the consciousness limited to the mind is a limited life alone. Limited life, limited experience, limited sorrow, frustration, all good and bad, little good, little bad, only we are in that. Now we have to help you to drop the mind and transcend the mind, because mind is limiting you. You as a consciousness is more than mind. Mind cannot limit you. Mind is too small. Mind is too small for you, the witnessing consciousness. So we have to help you to see how to see that. Keep watching. Keep watching generally we watch within the mind. Within the mind means within the thoughts of the mind. Come to the edge of the mind. Edge means end of the mind. Watch the mind as a whole. Mind as a whole, when you watch, come to the edge of the mind, then you see how mind is limited. If you are seeing edge of the mind, two edges, this side, all side, then you see mind is small. As you come to the edge, you will be outside it. Outside means you are independent of mind. As long as, I give you example, as long as you are within the hall, try to see this hall, you stand in the middle, you face that side, you only see half of the hall. Or you want to see this side, you turn this side. You turn this side and face this side, you only see one half of the hall. When you look this side, one half, that side, one half, you only see half of. Can you see the entire hall? What should you do to be able to see the entire hall in one stroke? You can't be within the hall. You have to come to the edge of the hall. When you come to the end of the hall, you can see the whole. That's why we say, see the entire state. When you see the entire state, as you are trying to see, you become witness. You become witness, see the entire state. Both are simultaneous. To the extent you see the entire state, to that extent you become witness. Otherwise, if you see part by part, you will remain within the state. If you see the part by part, like the hall, you try to see part by part. He says, no, somebody told, hey, you can't see the hall. Let us come to the edge. Come to the door and you will have a complete picture of the hall. He says, no, I don't want to come out of the hall. I want to see the hall. Okay, see. How will you see? You only see part by part. And he says, I want to see the entire hall by watching each inch of it. Abba. What an intelligent man. You want to see each inch of it. Each inch you see, but you will see only 1 inch only each time. Ultimately, you will see only 1 inch only in life. Can you see the whole hall? Each time you see 1 inch, it is somebody told that, I want to measure the ocean. I think I told you this example. When you want to measure the ocean, how do you measure? What instrument you have? 1 liter pot I have got. 1 liter vessel. Steel vessel, 1 liter it measures. Okay, go. And he dipped it and lifted it. He saw 1 liter. Again dipped it, 1 liter. Again dipped it. And he says, how big is the ocean? He says, only 1 liter. Whole ocean is 1 liter. Because you see only 1 liter. You have got only liter pot. You will see only 1 liter. However centuries you search, you will see only 1 liter. The very instrument you are using is blocking you. It presents only that much. So our purpose is to help you to come out of these limiting instruments. Sense organs, mind, body, mind and sense. They are only like 1 liter pot. whole big ocean it made into one liter. What a discovery. What a great scientist he is. He discovered whole ocean of 1 liter only. That's what is happening. This is what is samsara. Therefore, the mind is showing one by one. If you see, he said, within remaining in the mind, I want to discover Atma. Okay, discover. Try. Remaining within the mind, you see, you will see only one by one thought. Because mind is only divisive. It sees thought by thought. It's like 1 inch by 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch. You keep on seeing the entire hall. But each time you see only 1 inch alone. How can you see the entire hall? The only way is come out of the hall. Come to the edge of it. Then you have the whole hall in one stroke. That's what we have to do. So look at the waking as a whole state. Then you don't divide them. If you divide, you will see only one thought. Each time one small. Each time one small. You will be seeing only small pieces. you will see ultimately thousands of small pieces. Isn't it? That's what is samsara. That's what we are seeing already. They say, look at the whole means what? He is not unable to understand. Look at the hall, entire hall in one stroke. He says, how? Okay, he says, you have to look at the entire hall. Modern scientists do, we want to search the entire world. Okay, search. How will you search? You have got one small piece, and take the one piece, go all over the world. But you will see only piece alone. You will see 1 liter pot alone. That's what scientists are missing. So, you see the entire hall, piece by piece, each time you see one piece. Ultimately, you will have only one piece alone. You can't see the whole hall. Therefore, come to the edge of it. Then you see the entire hall. As you see entire, you are beyond it. You have transcended it. You are not part of a hall. Your vision, which was limited to one small pieces, that limited vision goes away. Because you are dropping the limited vision. Because you are the limited scale, the limited instruments, we call upadhi in Sanskrit. The limiting instruments called body, sense organs, mind, you will be dropping. That's why try to see the entire wakeful. We say again and again and again and again. Thousands of times we repeat it. Because they say, why whole state? Why can't we enjoy within the state? Within the state you have been seeing already. That didn't solve your problem. That's why you say, see the entire state. Entire state means your mind is taking a thought, selective thought, one by one, selective, because mind functions only in the, mind functions thought by thought, in a sequence. Entire mind it doesn't see. When you put the entire state, you are putting the mind also, you are including the mind also into the state. When you include the mind, you are giving up your what to say, the cloak, the coat you have put on. Mind is a coat Sakshi has put on. So the coat also goes away into the state. Then you become free from the coat. That means your consciousness becomes a witnessing consciousness. You are not a part of the state. State comes to you within you. State comes within you, and you stand without state. You stand dimensionless, you stand locationless, you stand without a sequence. You have no location, you have no sequence, you have no dimension, you are infinite consciousness. Okay. This infinite consciousness, mind, don't allow the mind to see. If the waking mind is trying to see the deep sleep, it sees in its own way. As I told you, that liter pot, measuring the liter pot is trying to measure the ocean. So the waking mind is trying to see the deep sleep. Deep sleep is your experience where your waking mind, waking state do not exist. Therefore, see it that way. See it that way. Therefore, say, waking, deep sleep, see it as your experience, not through the waker's standpoint. So more and more you look at the deep sleep as you are. Not as you see from the waker's standpoint, not as you see through the waking mind. More and more you see the deep sleep, more and more the waking mind drops off. You are giving up the waking mind, and you stand as pure consciousness. And you are the witnessing consciousness. That is deep sleep. Then where are the states? You have no states. Just as when you come out of the dream doesn't exist. When you come out of the dream, that means when you become the witness of the dream, where is the dream? Dream merges into you. Dream merges into you. Tanna ಒಳಗೆ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ತನ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ಅಡಕವಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. It is included in me. Similarly, when you see the waking state, similar to the dream, when you wake up from this waking state, you become Sakshi, you become witness, then the waking state becomes a dream which is merged into you. Then you stand stateless. You have no state. You are that pure consciousness. That's what we call Sushupti. You try to see more and more, you are that truth. Okay, my point is over. We'll read some book. Otherwise, book will remain like this. Some technical points, some few sentences, then he explained the word and all that. A few sentences let us. So, the Vaishvanara the wakeful. So these are all technical terms. Generally, by defining, memorizing technical terms, you get lost into the details. Now, just now, without using any technical terms, directly through experience, I explained. But keeping this in view, you read the book. Don't get stuck with the words and all. Words are meant to communicate, that's all. To point out, to suggest. So therefore, Taijasa is the dream. Dream means through mind, you see. And then waking is through sense organs and body. When you use, it looks as a something solid, something concrete world. But when you come to the edge of the waking state, you see waking as a whole state, then your body is a part of the waking state. Time and space is also included. Your mind is included. Your individuality is included. Then the entire waking state is witnessed by the consciousness. At that point, both waking and dream, you are a common witness to both. When you are a witness to both, you have neither of them. Because waking and dream are not simultaneous. But when you are a witness of both of them cease to exist. When you are a witness of both, you are timeless. You are free from space and time. You are free from the states. Then what happens? Both the states don't exist for you in your level. Therefore, the Taijasattva Dyotanartham Sarvapindatmanam Tadananyatvena Advitiyatva Dyotanarthancha Upadidvaya Roparamecha Tasyaiva Prajnalakshana Tritiya Padatvopa Padanarthamapetatu Bhavati. Nanishtattu Helidu, what I have told you is concluded, Swamiji. Coming to the next point, next para. Tatahi Uttarasmin Mantre. Now talking to the Sushupti. I have stated, but earlier in the book, first waking state was explained, dream was explained. Then how does the Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad explains, how does Swamiji explain the deep sleep state, let us say. Tatahi uttarasmin mantra yatra supto nakanchana kamam kamayate. Where means that deep sleep, where you are not desiring things, because there are no things for you, that means there are no waking. How do you exclude waking? How do you remove waking? By telling there are no objects to think of, objects to desire. There are no objects to desire. There are no objects to see. That means neither sense organs nor objects. Waking is removed. Then nakanchana swapnam pashyati, it doesn't imagine, dream is removed. No imagination, dream is removed. No perception, waking is removed. When there is neither perception nor imagination. In short, perception is waking, imagination is dream. This is the shortcut. Antaprajna, bahishprajna ashte. In English, there are certain good terms in English which can explain in one word, you can explain. Perception is waking, imagination is dream, consciousness is sleep. That's all. Witnessing consciousness is deep sleep. Perception is waking, imagination is dream, free from both is consciousness, sakshi. That's all. So, kanchana swapnam pashyati tat sushuptam. Therefore, concluding is easy. Explaining briefly in one word is easy. You'll get good marks if you write an exam. But your understanding is not possible. For understanding, you have to explain this much. Oh, this is very difficult. We'll write ready-made shortcut answers and get the marks. So, nakanchana swapnam pashyati tat sushuptam. It is jagrat swapna prapanchayor ubhayorapi abhavat. Where there is, in that witnessing consciousness, there is neither waking world, that means neither perceiver, perceived and perception, nor there is a thinker-thought relationship. Therefore, kama abhavaha dvitiya darshana lakshana swapna abhavascha sushuptam. If you hold the book, then I could explain the word, meaning and all that. That's a bookish one. Anyway, you don't need bookish one. I'll explain Vedanta, that's enough. Anyway, I'm translating. This portion I have already translated. So, when we publish it, you will get the translation also. Sushuptam iti lakshana. Telugu I have already done. Only Kannada I have to do. Telugu I have already published. Iti lakshana kathanam tritiyavasthayaha upapadyate. Now he is talking of a third avastha called prajna. Prajna means only consciousness. It is not a externalized consciousness. Perception means consciousness outward looking. Mind, dream means without looking outside, it is looking within. Looking outside is waking state. Looking within is dream state. Not looking anything, staying yourself is deep sleep state. See, looking outside, looking inside, not looking anywhere, staying yourself is called deep sleep. This is how the words explain. Mandukya Upanishad says in briefly. Therefore, Lakshana Kathanam Truti Avasthayah Upapadyate Karananam Sarveshamapi Sushtu Paranampi Sushuptatvam. The literal meaning Sushupti means Sushupti means, I don't know how to translate. Supta, you are sleeping. You are avoiding, excluding. You are avoiding, excluding. Removed everything. Everything you remove and stay yourself. So Sushuptatvam tadyatra etat suptas samastas samprasanna swapnam na vijanati atra hyavastayam jivas sarvanapi visheshan upadikrutan hitva swarupasya eva bhavati yatra etat purushaha swapiti nama. Idella same word quotation unnecessary. Okay. Swapnatma varnanavasare yathaiva purvam vaishwanarasya tathaiva saijasasya. I think I have already explained all these things. Okay. This point is over. Now the next paragraph, no, time is over. We'll explain tomorrow only. First, I told you two ways of doing, two methods. One is taking the dream as an imagination and waking as a perception. This is one method. Second method is both are perceptions only. This is a proud, very deep thinkers, a deep philosophical thinkers alone can think of it. Dream is not imagination. Dream is also perception, waking is also perception. This is another method. Gaudapada adopted it. Mandukya Karika. This is another method. This is not, the first method is meant for children of Vedanta. This is meant for grown-up people, where they can see both are equally perceptions. Okay. Now he says, Abhiprayantaramapyatra tarkitum shakyam. Here is another method of examining the states. Yatahi jivasya. Jagrat prajna tatrastha manaspandana matra savishaya iva avabhasate. I think it's a big point. We'll tell next day only. After this, Sushupti we'll tell little more tomorrow and go to Turiya. Okay? Sushupti, there is little more about Sushupti. We'll talk of more of Sushupti tomorrow and also these states. That fellow is hitting on my head only. I am feeling uncomfortable. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat.